What up, y'all? I think we on what episode number 92 or 93 now. I figured that out after I guess we done recording. But question was asked yesterday while I was in a group chat about what is a Sigma male. There's a guy I converse with, and he's just basically being introduced to red pill talk. Now, of course, for him, red pill talk is just more so men are the rulers of the world, women aren't. That's not really. Again, I've told you guys already, that's not red pill talk for me. Red pill talk for me is just the truth. That's it. So, he was doing a lot of screaming about alphas and betas. And I told him I wasn't an alpha male. And he said, yeah, I figured you was a beta. Not a beta male either. What you would call a sigma male. Now, when you get to, going through the characteristics of them all, you have to understand that sigma and alpha males are basically equal. We share many of the same common characteristics. Now, the difference is a lot of people say they're both confident in their life choices and aim high, but that's not true. Because alphas need the validation. So they're not really confident in their life choices. They're confident as long as someone has validated those life choices. Whereas a sigma doesn't seek validation from anybody. Sigmas choose to sit outside of the hierarchy. They don't even really belong in a hierarchy. Now, what is that hierarchy? Those are the alpha males, the beta males, the delta males, the gamma males, and omega males. Which throughout the next week, we'll go through all of those so that you can better understand what type of personality you actually have. So, sigmas don't sit in that hierarchy, though. Sigmas don't really ever try and fit the mold. They're looking to create the mold. You can't really tell a sigma how to dress. You can't tell a sigma how to act. And for those who know me, they know that already. I dress depending on the environment I'm in. If we in the movie theaters, no, I'm not dressing up to go to the movies. I'm not dressing up to go to like a Applebee's or a Denny's or someplace. If we're not going to like uh what do we have here? Like a Gibson's or Morton's. We're not going somewhere like that. There's a good chance you're gonna find me in a hoodie or a t-shirt and jeans, joggers, and gym shoes and slides on. Am I gonna be bummy? No. But I'm the only one I need to impress. And because I'm in a relationship, I'm not looking for a lady either. So I'm really not getting ready to get dressed up. Now, they also, when they say you can't tell a Sigma how to dress or act, when it comes to me, my behavior is kind of, what do you want to call it, calculated. Yeah, I can be funny. I can be an asshole. I can be very cold-hearted and ruthless. Sigmas also don't open up to everyone. They don't boast about their achievements or big dreams on social media. For those who follow me on social media, you already know that. My private life, almost non-existent on social media. People also find us cagey and secretive. If you know me, you know me. I share things with you. If you don't, I don't want the fake praise and validation. I don't need it. As more so when you talk about alphas need all of that. They need the ego boost. They need the validation. They need you to tell them you're the big dog. They need that. So let's go into some of the characteristics of what a Sigma male represents. They tend to be loners. It should not be confused with Sigma males disliking social company. Instead, it means they do not often need people to have a good time. On the flip side, they can also be pleasant and friendly with the people they like. Again, those who know me know I say the same thing all the time. I have more fun being alone with myself than I do being with others. I'm the life of the party half the time, whether I'm in this room by myself or I'm out with others. It's always the need for us to kind of be on. And because we don't like being on all the time, I can just sit at home. I can sit in the room by myself. Some of my best conversations are with myself. I can play contrarian with myself very well a lot of times. Whereas I could be literally thinking one thing and go back in my brain and say, now think of the counter argument for that. Those who know me say I stay in my head a lot. Could be true. That could be true. The second one, they are flexible. While alpha or beta males are more rigid when it comes to their personalities and environments they prefer to be in, Sigma males can adapt to most circumstances. They can perform well under different social situations, team compositions, and even outside their comfort zones. Which is, again, an alpha, he has to be the head dog in all environments. If he's not, he's either going to lash out or he'll wither away and become a beta male in that environment. A beta male needs an alpha to be in an environment. If he's in a room full of beta males, he doesn't know how to behave because he doesn't know how to take charge. He needs someone to take charge in that. Whereas, again, Sigma males can adapt to most circumstances. Those who know the environment I grew up know I grew up learning how to adapt to most circumstances. Be it school, hanging out in the streets, sports, graduating from the school of hard knocks, I wore many hats. But you had to survive out in that environment. There isn't really an environment you can put me in where I don't feel comfortable in. There's not too many social environments where I would feel like I'm a fish out of water. They are themselves regardless of who is watching. What you see with me is what you get. What you hear right now on this podcast on a regular basis, that's who I am in person. And to be honest, a lot of times I'm probably quiet in person because I just don't feel like a lot of people have the mental capacity to hold certain conversations. So a lot of times I won't even really respond. I'll listen. Somebody may ask me my opinion, and I may say, man, that's tough. I don't really have an opinion on that one way or the other. Just to play it to the back. Because for me, I've kind of already been ear hustling, and I know this conversation ain't going nowhere. And I'm not about to shoot the shit with you for the next 20, 30 minutes to entertain you. I'm not a clown. I'm not your jackal. I have a much better time and the night will feel better if I sit over here and sit quiet. So, Sigma males tend to be themselves regardless of who they are around. They will be more or less the same person when alone as they are around other people, making it a remarkable attribute. Another thing, that's a problem I always say I have with a lot of so-called alpha males. They loose cannons. You really can't trust them because they need to be in a certain hierarchy, they need to be top dog in just about all environments. If not, the testosterone get to jumping and acting a fool, and they need to show you they the top dog. I ain't got time for that. If we here to have a good time, we here to have a good time. Him thinking he the top dog while he here, he ain't putting his hands on me, he can mind his business. But for an alpha, somebody mean mugging him, he needs to go show him, I'm the boss here. So, they can lead without exerting authority. It's another thing I always talk about. The greatest leaders are the men you don't even know who are leading. And we don't even have to say men, people, period. The best leader is the person you don't even know that's the leader in the crew. That's a person who's not there for the accolades. That's the person who's not there for the validation. That's a person who's truly there to get the task done. When we think of leaders, we tend to think of alpha men. Sigma males also make for excellent leaders, albeit with a different leadership style. They prefer to lead by example or mutual communication rather than establishing their dominance or authority. Sigmas will get what needs to be accomplished with a balanced approach to leadership. And again, I can show you, or we can talk our way through it. But I'm never going to be one to make you feel like you're less than. Don't have to. Most alphas are drunk with power. They need it. They feed off of it. They can't live without it. And there she goes again. Livy with her daily. That dog is getting old too. I'm gonna miss the dog when she go. Chill out. Chill out. But all right. Sigmas are also what? Good listeners. Can't be a great leader if you can't be a great listener. Sigmas tend to be good listeners as they understand the value of silence and respect when others speak as a matter of mutual courtesy. They give importance to content rather than the volume and thus listen well and speak when required. See, for a Sigma and for myself, I'm not listening to combat you and to respond. I'm listening for understanding. Now, I'm asking more questions because you're not providing me the information for me to understand you. But I'm always listening for understanding. Now, when I finish listening for understanding, there could be a good chance I don't agree with what you just said. Be it good or bad. That's another issue when I always tell you women will never be satisfied because they say they what? I want a man who just will listen. And then when they get a guy like me, guess what you end up hearing in a relationship? Well, I wish you would just listen and not respond. Because when I respond, guess what? They know I've been listening, and now I can replay back to them, hey, you just said this, this, and that. That don't really align with what's actually going on here, though. You know, what you just said, you could be in the wrong here, here, and here. But what they'll tell you then is what? Hey, I just was expressing my feelings to you. I really didn't want a response, and my feelings can't be wrong. That's fine. That's fine. Your feelings can't be wrong. Why you're feeling that way, though, can be wrong. But again, that comes from listening to understand and to comprehend, and then listening to respond. Most alphas just listen to respond. They want to be right. Whereas I'm listening so I can provide you some insight back, which is what I expect in return. I'm hoping you're listening to provide some insight back to me. Self awareness. While this can be true about beta males, it often manifests due to insecurity, which is what I was getting ready to say. When we say Sigma males are self aware, it works both ways. They know their good qualities and also their flaws. Self awareness helps them self correct when they go wrong and they do not repeat mistakes. That's something I always beat myself up about. As I pride myself on once the mistake has been done, I try my best to be very mindful and self aware of that so we don't have that happen again. Which is why I tell people I don't really believe in apologies. Because unless you telling me you bumped into me or you dropped something on me on accident, most of these things were done on purpose. So the best thing for me is let's not repeat it again. Once you've done it again, I know you don't respect me. And at that point, yeah, I don't really want to hear, I'm sorry, you did it, but you really just apologizing because you don't like the outcome of it all. But when it comes to self-awareness, I'm very aware of everything I do good. I'm very aware of everything I do bad. Which is why when someone can call me out on the things I do bad, I don't take offense to it because I'm aware that I do those things bad already. And to me, if you're noticing that and you bring it to my attention and you say, hey, in this instance, you did this, and this. For an alpha, he does what? Alpha male or woman. You just hating, you picking at me. For me, when you're telling me you've witnessed me do those things and I know I've done those things, now it's time for me to self-correct. But you have to be aware enough to know that you can self-correct yourself. Now, for a beta, when he's self-aware, a beta is he's self-aware of all his insecurities. He doesn't really think he does anything well. But you'll hear beta males say, hey, I'm not 6 feet. My feet small, my arms short, I'm chubby. I don't think I'm endowed enough to satisfy a woman. That's what you'll get from a beta male. He doesn't see the good qualities in himself. All he knows is I'm wrong in all of these aspects. And he carries that lack of confidence into his relationships, which is why women don't really stay with beta males too long. The relationships can last for a few years, but after a while, it's over. They have ambiguous morality. Sigma males tend to see right and wrong in complex scenarios. In this regard, they harbor a sympathetic attitude towards certain people other than judging them outright. It also makes them critical thinkers who analyze all aspects of the issue before passing judgment on it. That's also me. And it's why I tell people I could never be religious again. Because for me, there are certain things that don't make sense. And if they don't make sense, you're not going to tell me because something was in this book thousands and thousands of years ago that makes it okay. If it's not okay and I'm seeing it as wrong, then it's just wrong. Let's figure out a better option for it then. Not, well, I beat my kids because my mother beat me. Well, how did you turn out? Well, I still kept running afoul of the law and doing things anyway and being disrespectful to her. So tell me again, if you know you turned out that way and you beating your kids and they behaving the same way as you did as a child, then help me understand again why we're beating the child. Are we beating the child out of anger or to teach a lesson? See, there's always a right and a wrong way. What you'll get from a lot of alpha women and men are, no, this is my perception. This is my truth. And see, that's that I have a big issue when I hear people, especially alphas, this is my truth. And you know what they're basically telling you? I'm wrong, but I'm not going to admit to you I'm wrong. So I'm going to tell you my truth on it. And you can't deny my truth. You can't call my truth a lie. Bullshit. Yes, I can. If your truth is not what actually happened, then you're lying to yourself and you suffer from delusions of grandeur. You're very delusional and a very delusional person, an individual, which is what most alphas are, very delusional. They think that shit does not sting. That's an alpha for you. They don't think they have flaws at all. And when a flaw is shown, what an alpha will usually do is, hey, I'm gonna go pray about it. Or I went to see somebody about it. What an alpha will then do is say, they'll put their flaw on Front Street and say, I'm seeking help for it, to actually show you that I know this flaw exists and I'm going to pretend as if I'm working on it. But they're not ever going to work on that flaw. And then they'll come to you and say, what? No man but Jesus was perfect. That's an alpha for you. They also say Sigmas can have rusty social skills. Sigma males can come off as a little abrasive or uninterested, since they rarely have emotional reactions and are direct while communicating. While some may see this as rude, it's a consequence of them being good listeners. They do not disguise their intent with flowery language or flattery. And again, I get in trouble for this also, because I'm not going to agree with everything somebody tells me. I'm not going to be sympathetic to everything somebody tells me. Can I come off as a little abrasive or uninterested? Sure, if I feel like you BSing me, then I may start staring off into space somewhere and just tune in here and there on keywords, see what's actually going on off the context of what you're talking about now, and then check right back out again and just finish letting you talk. And then I'll get up and go. Now, if you want back and forth and I feel like you BSing me, that's what a little abrasive part can come off at. Because then that's why I'm going to bring to your attention, hey, this is actually where you're probably wrong at. And I'm not doing it out of a place of hate. I'm doing it out of a place of love. I love you enough to show you, hey, you could use some correction here. Just like I would hope you would love me enough to do the same. But when you have an alpha, again, they don't think that shit stinks. So for an alpha, is what? Don't correct me. Even if you think I'm wrong, I'm right. A Sigma can fit into friend groups, but they do not rely on them. Sigma males are flexible, making it easy for them to fit into different social groups and get along with people. However, it does not mean they are dependent on social groups or friends. They are content and happy on their own and stay the same, irrespective of their social circle. Again, I can take you or I can leave you. Life gonna go on. That's just the way I live life. There's boundaries set around. I've spoken about that already. Even in regards to people who even gave birth to me. When those boundaries are crossed, there's no more relationship with me. And it's just that simple. I don't owe you anything. I don't owe my personal happiness to anybody else. I don't owe my mental peace to anybody else. So I feel like you're in the position to harm that. I'm cool. You got it. You can go that way. I can go this way. Now, again, because of the way I was raised, yes, I can fit into a lot of different groups. I can hang with the nerds. I can go hang with the gangsters. I can go hang with the athletes. I can even, on some regards, go have conversations with religious people and political people. But that's just the way I'm wired. And it's not to say, again, one is better than the other. But I'm just stating that's just how I'm wired. I can be with people or I cannot be with people. As soon as this is over, I'm getting ready to watch NFL games, watch the NBA games, watch some college football until I get tired, go to sleep. And that's it. And I'm going to have a good time doing it by myself. And if people were here, I could have a good time doing it with them. But I don't need them to be here. I don't need people to enjoy myself. I can pick up a book and enjoy myself. I can sit down and watch a 3-hour long documentary and enjoy myself all by myself. I don't need people in my environment to either bring me happiness or it takes away from it. If I want to be around people today, I will be. If I don't, then I won't. They tend to have small but close social circles. Sigma males don't feel the need to have big friend circles or impress crowds of people. Instead, they prefer to have a closer circle of friends they can trust and share the same wavelength. It may come off as antisocial, but it's not. And again, those who know me know I talk a lot. Those who don't think I'm antisocial. They think I'm an introvert. They think I'm boring. And it's not because I don't talk. Again, if we're not on the same wavelength, we ain't operating on the same frequency, what value are you adding? I'm just here now wasting hot air with you because I don't see the world the way you see it. So now for us having an hour, 2 hour long conversation where I know we're not even operating on the same frequency, you on the way outside of the country, I'm still driving just to get to the suburbs of this city. You going someplace totally different. We ain't got no chance of meeting up again. So for me, I look at it as it's a waste of hot air a lot of times. So for me, my circle, it stays small because I also understand you just can't trust human beings. When human beings get emotional, most human beings will do what? They talk. And see, the bigger your circle, the more people have access to your personal information, privacy. I don't like sharing my privacy. So my circle stays small. My daughters, my wife, few buddies. That's it. Family members you could go ask and say, yo, what has he been doing the last 5? I don't know. He pop up here, may pop up one side of the year and disappear again for a year. That's just the way I operate. We ain't got really nothing to talk about. I'm not going to be there just sitting there just so I can make somebody else feel good. That's just not the way I operate. They aren't attention seekers. Sigma males don't seek attention or validation from others. When they do get it, they don't live for it or thrive on it. They tend to gel into the background and listen and observe rather than the center of attention. Again, those who know me know I despise attention. It's one of the biggest issues I still have doing this podcast. As I get more listeners and more people start to have access to me, I lose my anonymity. I can no longer operate in the little bubble. And I've said that, what was that, 30 episodes ago? It's still a fight I'm still struggling with. I don't like the attention because it's a lot of fake love out there. And again, I'm not seeking people's validation either. If I feel good about something, I'm the only one who have to live with it at the end of the day, which is why when people ask me for advice, I tell them, I give them what I have to give them, but I always finish everything with, hey, but in the end, you're going to have to live with it. So you need to do and make the decision and the choice that's best for you. You need to do what you can live with and sleep with at the end of the day. Don't worry about me. I can sleep with doing a lot of things I have already. So you don't need to focus on what I can sleep with or live with, because you may not be wired to be able to sleep with or live with what I can live with. But I don't like the attention. It's another reason I hate being tall. Because when you're tall, guess what? You get all these people, hey, yo, you tall. How tall are you? Man, you got big hands. Man, you got big feet. You get women walking up to you. Man, I bet it's fun just kind of hanging out with you or cuddling with you or laying under you. It's all this extra stuff, and it's not stuff I like. I really sometimes wish I could be like 5'9", 5'10", and just mingle in with the rest of the world. But when I'm in a room, people know I'm in a room just because of the way I'm built. So that just is what that is also. Now, the Sigma male versus the alpha male. The value of silence. Alpha males need a specific environment to function in. They like to speak and want to be heard. They are active for the audience and are at their best when people are watching. In short, they are loud personalities and wish to remain the same. They are attention whores. And I try and state that again. That's not me. That's not how I'm built. So for me, I know I don't really fit under the umbrella of what alphas are. Sigma males are opposite in every way. They respect silence and appreciate a quiet environment. They can perform better without an audience and rarely do things for public acknowledgement. It's also, I do things for people behind the scenes and I never talk about it. It's never going to be seen on social media. If I buy a gift for somebody out in the mall, or hey, somebody short 20, $30 for groceries, hey, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about that. But I don't then leave and then get on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok and hey, show the extra receipt and say, hey, I just took care of somebody's bill for them. That's just not me at the end of the day. I do it because I want to do it. It's also, I have family members where it would be like, I'm not giving a man or a bum money just so he could go buy liquor. I don't care what he do with that. If I got $10 to give him, then I'm giving him the 10. If I give him 20, whatever he go do with the 20 once I put it in his hands, that's on him at that point. The money has left my hands. I'm not here to worry about what you're doing with your life. If you ask me, hey, sir, you got money? I give it to you. That's on you what you go do with that. For an alpha, guess what he's gonna do? Now I'll go buy you the food. I'll go buy you this, but you're not doing this with my money because he wants to control somebody's life. That's not me. Like you the 20, I don't care. You go buy 2 drinks with that. I don't care if you go buy a drink and a carton of cigarettes. That's on you at the end of the day. You asked, I had it, I gave it to you. That's your business at that point. Flexibility and dominance. Alpha males have a compulsive need to compete and dominate their current environment. So in the workplace, they tend to be competitive and ambitious. They do not perform well in groups, where they are not the leader or center of attention. And again, working with alpha males and alpha women, you run into this also. Because you run into people who want to be in control. They're control freaks at the end of the day. Now, when they realize they control freaks and you don't really give them the attention that they're looking for, then they'll kind of come back down to earth. And then it's kind of, hey, yo, I was bugging back there. Did I offend you? Oh, no, man, it's cool. But for me, is you are who you are, and that's your personality. We can't change that. Sometimes you just have to let people be. Like I have a statement I tell people and buddies of mine now when it's, hey, you think I was a little aggressive when I said that? If you got to ask me, you already know you was a little aggressive when you make that statement. But that's an alpha because alphas are still unsure of how they're maneuvering and operating. And it's because for them, they only know dominance. They don't know how to lead and be on equal footing with people. That's not how they can't operate in that world. They don't know how to lead and be 5 steps behind the people getting all the attention. They want to be the one to show you, hey, yo, this is mine. I'm leading this. Whereas a Sigma can do what? He can lead, but be 5 steps behind. And nobody even knows he's actually the leader. Sigma males don't care about dominance or hierarchy. They would operate outside of known structures and hierarchy to get the best possible results. Their outlook towards people is based more on their value set, and they do not see others as competition or threats. They are also more flexible and do not mind working as a team or in a subordinate position as long as they like the job. Because again, a Sigma understands he doesn't have to. Like I told you, it was a lesson I learned in high school. My senior year when they stripped my captainship from me for football because I got sick, which was still weird to this day. But he made a valid point. He came to me and he said, hey, yo, all you really missing is you can't go out to the middle of the field for the coin toss. They still come to you as the leader, though. And at that point, I understood it, and it made a lot of sense at that point. Like, yeah, you really tripping just so the world knows you're the captain. But in terms of what a true captain is and leader, they still operating. The team is still operating as if you are that. So what are you complaining about? Social validation. Alphas are often seen as dominant leaders, but in their established social hierarchy. They have to see what the game is, play it, and win it to become alphas. These men derive their entire sense of self-worth and respect from their position of dominance over others. Sigmas differ as social validation and hierarchy mean little or nothing to them. And see, what you'll see is with alphas, they're everywhere, party wise and all of that. They need to be fashionably late so that you know I'm in the building. That's why they don't come on time. Because they know they come on time, you kind of mingle in with everybody else. They need to make a grand entrance. They need to make sure when they're giving you pictures on social media, they don't care if they've spent their last to the last of everything. They're going to make sure that wedding or that vacation is something to show the world, to present them in a certain light. Whereas a Sigma myself, I'm out of town and you don't even know I've been out of town. According to the people around me, I don't go nowhere. According to the people around me, I ain't never did nothing. And that's fine, but they feel that way because I don't let them into the world that I have been in or that I currently live in. It's just not your business. And because, again, I'm not here for your validation, I don't really have to share that with you. Like, that's a conversation I have also, whereas we don't take enough pictures when we out. To show who? For memories. Hello. We here together. We sharing a memory right now. We only really taking pictures for the memories of other people to see it. We're living in this moment. We're sharing this moment right now. We don't need the pictures. The pictures are to show other people where we were at and how we looked and what we were doing. The need to belong. An alpha is only an alpha if he is at the head of the pack, which I already stated. Thus, they need a social construct that they can lead or dominate to define themselves. It constrains them to specific behavioral patterns in social circles, which is why you'll hear them say what? Well, this is what the people like. Well, everybody like this. Everybody doing this. Like if the world was moving to the left, then they want to be the head of the pack going to the left. Once it moves to the middle, they'll figure out how to migrate and become the head of the pack to the middle. They won't stand on the left. See, if I'm going left, and I could be the only one going left, but I'm fine with that because everybody behind me ain't dictating why I'm going left. I'm going left because I've done enough research and I trust my instincts to know that's the correct way to go. If everybody else going to the middle, that's on you. A Sigma doesn't require any of this to be himself and is fine in a social hierarchy where he isn't ranked high. Indeed, he can even function as a loner, not relying on anyone at all. It allows such men greater social freedom. I tell people it's nothing better than being a loner. There's nothing better than not having to rely on people. It's a gift and a curse. Because for me, that's probably one of my biggest flaws is no matter the trouble I'm in, I'm not really going to ask for help. I'll figure it out. Humility. Alpha male self-worth is closely tied to society's perception. They have an innate need to showcase their personality and achievements. They talk or brag about themselves and reinforce to the rest of the pack that they are the alpha males. The alpha males or females. And what's a great example of this? Is again, I told you, when their time in the sun is up, what do you see them do? They now have trophy children to show you, hey, look, my child also excelling. Yeah, they'll chip off the old block. Now, he's telling you this because what? His time is up, but he still wants to live off his sunshine, but he also wants to tell you what? Don't forget, I used to be good at this also. What do I tell you with my children? Everything they accomplish is them. I'm to the back. Have I helped you do this? Yes, but you got out here and perform. This is your time to shine, not mine. That's hard for an alpha to actually say. And we may get into why the whole Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen situation is happening now. It's a perfect example of an alpha and a beta male. But that deserves its own deep dive. And who knows if we'll ever have the time for that. But that situation is occurring right now the way it has the last few years because Michael is an alpha male. That's the most selfish of the selfish, the most look at me guy you can find. And he put all the Scotty flaws on Front Street to say what? Now you have a lot of people who say what? Scotty did all this to himself. But what did Scotty tell you? You wasn't even here in 94 when I decided not to go back in the game. But you want me to tell you why Jordan truly highlighted that and why nobody wants to talk about that? Because it's this Superman complex to come back and tell you what? I had to come back and help lead this again because you wasn't strong enough to do it without me. Now, has Mike ever won without Scotty? Hell no. Will he ever say that? Nope. He'll say you could just sub somebody else out and give me somebody else, and I could have won with that person. But Scotty could do the same and say you could sub Jordan out and give me a Patrick Ewing or Olajuwon, and I probably could have won with them in my prime. But again, that's that whole Jordan in that last dance was to show you what? I'm at the top of the pyramid, and my subjects and my teammates, they some tiers lower. And I want to highlight to you how lower they are than me. I want to highlight to you everything I had to deal with off the court and show you they was mere mortals. All they had to focus on was basketball. I was gambling, shooting commercials, being a father, being a husband, dominating basketball, couldn't go outside. I had to do all these things and still go perform. That was his way of what? Highlighting to you, though, these guys needed me. Now, in the last dance, did he really highlight how many times he came up short and failed the team? No, because that's not the image Michael Jordan wants to portray to you. That's not an image an alpha will portray to you. They don't have the humility to do something like that. But as it goes, Sigma males differ in this regard as well. Their focus lies more on the job itself than the societal standards. They will do the job to the best of their ability and not care for praise or public opinion. Their need for appreciation ends at them being seen as people who can do a good job. That's all we're here for, just to get the task done. Once the task is done, I'm out. I get emails and comments from people as, yo, that was a great episode. You did this, you should do this. I see you moving here. I see you doing there. Are you listening to all of these things back? And all I can really respond and say is, man, I do my work, my research for this, come and give it to y'all. And I go, man, I'm not here for all the praise. Like I said, I don't really do well with all of that. Because to me, it's all fake. I couldn't get this praise if I wasn't bringing you these episodes. They wouldn't tune in to me or check out what I was saying if I wasn't bringing you these episodes. So in a sixth sense, to me, I still look at it as you kind of want to, you're trying to align yourself now with something where it may be seen as the cool kids later and hop on something to say, I'm with this wave. Well, with me is there is no wave for me because all I'm going to do is keep giving you this content and get out of here and go live my regular life, man. It just is what it is. And we finish it off with perception. People usually see alphas as people who crave attention and live for social validation. Sigma males are harder to read for most people. Indeed, most people might not even know what the term even means since mainstream psychology has bracketed men into alpha versus beta for so long. Once people know someone with Sigma characteristics, they are seen as independent thinkers, lone wolves, as opposed to being in an alpha's pack, disassociated from a lot of social conventions and good listeners. And again, am I a lone wolf? My daughter thinks she a lone wolf now, the youngest. I don't like to say I'm a lone wolf because I have a community around me, a small community, but it's a community around me. So none of this is done alone. There's help from all of those people in that community, and I'm fine with that. Hell, I'll probably give them more praise for how all of this gets done than I actually give myself for how all of this gets done, to be honest with you. But when we get to independent thinkers and those type of things, this show is basically built off that. We don't rock with what everybody else is doing or how people feel about this. I give it to you and come to you with the facts, and I deal with the facts. I'm not coming to you with, hey, well, the ladies say I should do this and I could get more likes from the ladies if I talk about this like this and crucify them like this. No, I'm cool. I'm going to give you that real and that raw. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But we'll never be at a point where we're doing this for social validation. That's just not me. Sigma males have only recently started to gain recognition as a personality type. For a very long time, the male psyche's discussion was classified into black and white or alpha or beta. The Sigma, while having traits from both, is different from them. He can be a good listener, but also state his point eloquently. He will abstain from immediate judgment, but can be a good judge of character through his observation and listening skills. He will not crave leadership or dominance, but can handle the responsibility. Now, as we close this out, what have we learned today? I'm hoping I've enlightened a few of you men out here and giving you the information to go ahead and say, maybe I can reclassify, and I am a Sigma also, not an Alpha. I don't really have those characteristics. Because you don't really have to push to be an Alpha. To me, an Alpha is still also somebody with self-esteem issues. Alphas and betas have self-esteem issues. It's just betas never really have high self-esteem. Alphas have high self-esteem and low self-esteem. Betas usually just have low self-esteem. So, again, we'll probably start going over the hierarchy of all of these male characteristics so that you can better understand also the type of men you're affiliating yourself with now and give yourself better understanding of whether you want to hang around these people any longer and start to see, are they adding to your life or taking away from your life? Are they helping your mental health, your mental well-being, or are they taking away from it? And I'll leave you with this. Stay with a circle who's always making double the deposits and not taking away. Always remember that. Double the deposits and not taking a lot of withdrawals out. If you're dealing with people who are taking more withdrawals out than deposits, it's time to cut the string. It's your boy the Hood Nerd. I'm out.